Zoe in fifth grade, who is an excellent reporter and a founding member of the Otis Scoop newspaper, asks, "What was your childhood like? Did you have steam when you were a kid?" Zoe, when I got your question, the first word that came to my mind was lonely. I had something of a lonely childhood. I'm the youngest in my family by quite a lot, so for much of my childhood, I was left alone to do my own thing. I was born in Napa, a little bit north of here. When I was 5, our family moved to Indonesia. My mother is Indonesian, and we moved to Jakarta, the capital city. Jakarta is like any other major city. It's huge. There's a lot of people and a lot of schools, and I went to 2 different schools. But when I was in 5th grade, at the age you are now, we moved from Jakarta to the island of Sumatra. Sumatra has a lot fewer people, and there were no schools my parents wanted me to go to, so they signed me up for a correspondence course. That's a lot like what you're doing now. You're doing it on Chromebooks and iPads, but I would do my homework and send it in through the mail to my teacher, who would mark it and send it back. You guys, of course, are getting also to see your friends on your conference calls. But as for me, all the other families sent their kids off to boarding schools. So I was kind of the only kid in that community. Now, that was very lonely, and I know it sounds sad, and it actually was a little sad, but there was a bright spot, and it's this. I had to learn to be very creative and resourceful. With no one to play with, I had to invent all my own games. And if I have any kind of skill at being creative and inventing activities for us to do in STEAM Lab, it probably goes back to those days where I was a bored kid without a lot to do. It can be weird to think of bright spots in this time. I know the pandemic can be very scary, and there's a lot of sad things you can hear about in the news. But if there is a bright spot, I wonder if it's this. I would like to know if you are learning to be resourceful and creative in different ways now. So, as editor-in-chief of the Otis Scoop newspaper, I am assigning you an article. I would like to know if you're looking at the world any differently during these coronavirus times. And I'm going to invite anyone watching who wants to be in the next issue of the Otis Scoop to write me something about the pandemic. It can be how you feel about it, or it could be a review of your parents' cookings, or maybe your parents' hair cutting abilities. It is interesting to me how we're all coping these days, so please write me a paper. Zoe, thank you for your question. I miss Otis Scoop, and I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks.